What's up, Leafs fans? Welcome to Leafs Digest. Now that we've had a little bit of time to digest what really went on in last night's game against the Winnipeg Jets, where we lost 6-3, we fall to 17-7-2 on this season. I thought I'd hop on here and just kind of break down a little bit of the aftermath, some of the news that's come out today so far based on injuries, fines, suspensions, hearings, all that kind of stuff, all the new news that we've acquired in the past 24 hours since the breakdown of last night's game, since last night's game was underway. There is a bunch of interesting stuff. Now, I'm going to lead this one off. It is the most important piece of information, I think, to myself, to Leafs fans, and probably Leafs management and the players on this Leafs team. And that is Chris Johnson from TSN, Toronto Star, wherever you want to call him from. Chris Johnson has come out and said that it appears that Rasmus Sandin's injury will only hold him out for about 2 to 3 weeks. Now, if you're watching last night's game, you saw him go knee-on-knee with Neil Pionk, and the way he went down, the way he went to the bench, the way he left the ice after the fact, he was in a lot of pain, and it was very indicative of someone who was very severely hurt, who might be facing a long-term injury. That was the type of knee-on-knee injury you look at and you go, broken bones, MCL, ACL, whatever it was, it looked bad. It looked painful. It looked like it was going to last this guy a long time, and thankfully Chris Johnson reporting that he's hearing 2 to 3 weeks on that Rasmus Sandin injury. So cross our fingers that it goes on the short side, that the healing process goes well, and he can come back 100% in that short period of time. 2 to 3 weeks. I mean, you look at it and you go, yeah, that's a long time without a guy who's been playing really well. He's been in the lineup every single night. He's been a very, very important player for this Leafs defense. He's taken a huge step in his game this season. Now, that being said, I don't think it's going to take a hit on his confidence at all. I would imagine this is the type of guy, the type of player who's going to push on, continue to be that confident, energetic, fast skating type of player that he's been throughout this beginning of this season. He's been really, really good, and he's a guy that we need back in this lineup. Now, briefly, what does this mean for the rest of the lineup? I don't think too much is drastically going to change. I think we're going to see Timothy Liljegren stay consistently in the lineup, and I think we're going to see a situation where Travis Dermott is also consistently in the lineup. I highly, highly doubt that Sheldon Keefe, Kyle Dubas are going to look down to the minors and call up a guy like Biega or Dahlstrom. That being said, I would not be surprised if this is the time where we may see Brennan Mennel come up from the Marlies here and get a shot to be able to come in here and play. The other guy that I think might be able to do it just based on freely moving up and down is Rubens. He's a huge defenseman with the Marlies team, and I feel like they may be looking to see what he can do at the NHL level, if he's worthy of playing here, if he can slide in. But those guys, if they come up, they will definitely be seventh defensemen. They will be guys sitting in the press box until they are called upon. They won't be guys being called up to hop right into this lineup right away. It looks like Liljegren, Dermott will be the guys to hop in here and hold the fort while Sandin recovers from this. Now, following up on this, Neil Pionk announced 2-game suspension. I really don't know where to go with these knee-on-knee suspensions, whether I think this is just, unjust. I personally I apologize, but I don't really have an opinion on it. Did he deserve to be suspended? 100%. Does he deserve to be suspended for longer? I don't know. I just really don't know. I think it was kind of intentional where he could have avoided the hit. It was a deliberate knee. 2 games, okay. That's kind of where I come out on that one. I don't think Pionk's a player who's had a history of malicious or dirty plays like that. So allowing a 2-game suspension for the guy, okay, I'm fine with that. Now, where I have the problem is that Jason Spezza was offered an in-person hearing, which means he's allowed 5 or more games to be suspended. Ridiculous. That is a guy without any type of history, without any type of malicious intent throughout any of his career. Now, whether there was on that specific play, I definitely think he was targeting Pionk. That's just the way that it was. I think he was going out there to go after Pionk after what had happened to Sandin. He was going to send a message and hit him no matter what. I think he saw Pionk falling and said, screw it, I'm following through in this. Now, when you go back and watch the video, which I really, really urge people to do, go find the Jason Spezza hit on Neil Pionk. Watch it in full speed first. Could he have avoided it once Pionk started falling down? Yes. But when you watch it in full speed, you get a different appreciation for the play itself than when it happens in slow-mo, which is what is being blasted all over social media right now, all over YouTube, everything. The slow-mo version of that hit is what is playing on highlight reels left, right, and center. Watch it in fast motion first, and then watch it in the slow motion. You can tell he is going, I'm going to hit Pionk really hard here. I don't think he's targeting the head. I think the head was the unfortunate result of the end of the play where he ends up hitting the head anyways. I think he's just going to hit Pionk and just going to send a message. I'm going to hit this guy really hard. I'm going to do some damage to him. I don't think the head was his intent to hit the guy. He hits the head. He's going to face some time for it. But let's be honest, this starts with the referees. The referees were terrible all night long. Leafs fans, Jets fans, I don't care who you are. Both sides, this was a terribly officiated game. And those refs that were reffing last night's game need to face some sort of repercussions for how they handled it. Because the reason that the game got so out of hand later on, the way that it did, is because of them. That is entirely because of the refs, the way they mishandled the game, the way they mishandled the Sandin knee, the way they mishandled allowing it getting to the point of Spezza having that happen, breaking up fights and not allowing them to follow through. It just makes the tension boil over. If guys are going to fight, let them fight. I don't understand the whole go to the box for the fighting thing because it's going to happen later on and now you're going to have more incidents. Cares. Just let them fight the first time. The tensions continue to boil up and now other guys are pissed because other guys aren't fighting. The fight starts to happen. Guys start to see it. They get rallied up. Now, the fight doesn't happen. Guys are going to the box. Everyone else is still rallied up. They're all fired. They're all angry. Both teams. Now they're going to go out there. And there was just malicious plays by both teams going around all night. Both teams just going at each other in dirty ways. And we even saw it. Simmonds grabbing a $2,250 suspension, which, I mean, pocket change to him, but it's the maximum allowable under the CBA. He gets that for cross-checking Jansen Harkins. And again, like, I do not condone the whole going out to injure guys, but when it's happening to you, we've seen Leafs teams in the past just cower away and start to hide from this type of activity going out on the ice. And then we say, this is a soft team. This is a soft team. Oh, and we start to cry. You know what? We've got a team here in front of us who's going to fight back and do things back. Let's just, for once, just not get mad at them for doing this. I understand some of it is dumb, but this is also a situation where it's an out-of-hand game. It's over. Like, it's 6-3. It's done. We got no shot. Just respond because we never see this from this team. And if you're going to be all gung-ho about, oh, play the right way, boo-hoo. Because you know what? That wasn't happening. The Winnipeg Jets weren't doing that. The refs weren't allowing that to be the case in the game. The Leafs, in years past, for so long, every single night we look at this and say, no one does anything. We're soft. We're going to get pushed around. We're going to get pushed around in the playoffs. Finally, we have a situation where guys are finally sticking up for themselves, sticking up for their teammates, going out and fighting, and I hate it because I don't like the dirty, illegal stuff, but if it's happening to you and it's not getting called and it's just going away like this, sometimes you just got to do it back. Like, let's be honest. That's the way it is. That's the way that the game is going to be played until things change by the NHL, by George Peros, and by the officiating crew on the ice that night and going forward, because until they change things, the way you play will not and cannot change. You have to learn how to play that game, and that is what we're seeing from this Leafs team. That situation, that shift where Simmonds gets the suspension also leads to another thing here, but I will touch on that as I go along. Starting it off with tripping Harkins off the faceoff and cross-checking him. Hate it, but also love it because of the response. Then he's getting fired up. He's angry. He's chasing other guys around on the ice. And who cares? Like, at that point in the game, like I said, it's out of control. It's over. We've lost the game. Send the message back. Make some guys feel it. Then he goes after Logan Stanley. And this is where I'm going with this second part of this. Logan Stanley showed how much of a soft, scared, gutless player he is last night. You are that big and you refuse to fight Wayne Simmonds midway through the third period there. You basically have to be saved by the referees mauling Simmonds into the box while you refuse to fight the guy, refuse to fight him. You think you're so big, you're so tough, you're this monster on the ice, and you won't fight that guy while he's all angry coming after you. You won't fight him. And then where it becomes him being a coward, if you don't want to fight in that moment, sure, get it, no problem. I'm not sitting here making this statement right now. Where it becomes ridiculous, where it becomes a coward act, where it becomes soft, where I look at him and say, you are a pretender, is when he goes after Simmonds late in the third period as the third man in. Now, go watch that back because that deserves a suspension right there, being the third man in. The NHL is dropping the ball right now. George Peros, the refereeing crew, whoever's on the ice every night, the refs in the NHL have consistently become worse and worse every single night. Every single year. It's getting much worse, and something needs to happen. These guys need to get better. The training needs to get better. The discipline needs to get better. I don't know if it's the new guys that are coming in aren't able to hold up and be what the old guys were and be able to manage the games, be able to figure things out from that perspective. But it needs to get better because that's not good. You get to a point where the game is getting out of hand like this. Foligno in the night before comes off the bench back out onto the ice to fight. Then you have last night where Logan Stanley hops in third man in while Simmonds is going after Morrissey. That is a joke. And then the worst part about where the cowardness comes from Stanley is you're the third man in. It's essentially you're jumping the guy while he's preoccupied with someone else. And then you're going to skate off the ice, pumping up the crowd. You did nothing. You did nothing. You were the third man in. This is where the cowardness comes from. This is where it's looking at that guy saying, that's a joke, you're a joke. And then next time, I would not doubt it, they play the Winnipeg Jets, Wayne Simmonds is going to have something to say, and he's going to do something about that because that was a ridiculous play by Logan Stanley there. Now, what I do also love to see here is Sheldon Keefe having the stones to send out Clifford and Simmonds to fight guys. Because we refused as a team to send guys out to fight guys in years past. Finally, we have a situation where Sheldon Keefe is going to look at it and say, go handle this. Go deal with that guy. And you know what? Pierre-Luc Dubois playing that minimal amount of shifts that he did in the third period, rightfully so. Because him and Paul Maurice should have been absolutely crapping their drawers that Pierre-Luc Dubois was going to get absolutely run over and mauled by Kyle Clifford and Wayne Simmonds for what he did to Austin Matthews and followed up with what he did to Joseph Woll. Because as Austin Matthews said in the postgame, that wasn't hockey. And he is right. Everything that happened in that third period was not hockey. And you know what? You want to look at another example of how brutal the refs were? Look at that penalty where Pierre-Luc Dubois is just jumping on Austin Matthews' back in the corner, ragdolling him around the ice. Matthews is doing nothing, and then all of a sudden Matthews is getting a matching minor penalty for it. That's a joke. That's a situation where you make a statement and you say, that's not allowed. Pierre-Luc Dubois, you're going to sit in the box because that's not hockey. You don't hand out both penalties to both guys because that's a wash. There's no consequence for doing what you're doing. This is where the referee needs to get better. So that was not hockey. And the final thing I got to say here, where it's just I'm going to start to slowly personally develop a hatred or a vendetta for the Winnipeg Jets, is the Winnipeg Jets social media team posts after the fact. And if you haven't seen it, I urge you to go to their Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you can find it. The Winnipeg Jets posted in the locker room footage, handing out their player of the game belt or whatever it was, saying, is there anything better than beating the Leafs? That is where we are at with this Toronto Maple Leafs team. That is where we are at. This team is so mature, so good, so dominant at this point in time that other teams have circled them every single time they're coming in here. This team is coming off a back-to-back missing Mitch Marner and has Joseph Woll in net. And the Winnipeg Jets are on video handing out awards saying, is there anything better than beating the Leafs? So if you are a Leafs fan right now, you should be taking that one to the bank with you, just knowing that the other team is absolutely going bananas because last night was their Stanley Cup, beating us 6-3 in a regular season game where they have guys running around all over the ice, doing cheap, dirty stuff, getting away with things. And that's how they beat this team, and it's their Stanley Cup, how excited they are that they've beat this team. So that's how good this Leafs team is right now. But I am certainly looking forward to this matchup as we come for the rematch because something is going to go down. But the best part about this is we're going to have to wait until March 31st when these teams face off again. That's when I check the calendar. It's when they face off next. And it's going to be weird because I feel like at that point in time, we're going to forget. And then it's going to be a day before, the day of, we're just going to see all this hype for all this stuff that's going down. It's going to be an exciting one when that comes. But until then, we will see you guys tomorrow, Tuesday, December 7th at 7 p.m. against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Leafs fans, myself included, let's take a deep breath. Things are going to be okay. Rasmus Sandin will be back soon. Jason Spezza, hopefully he won't be out for that long. I imagine news will probably break at some point tomorrow, so we'll see what happens there. But other than that, we're okay. We're second in the Atlantic still. We got a great record. This team has been maturing. We've been playing really well. We've showed signs of development in all aspects of this game, so I like what's going on. I like the response we saw last night. Leafs fans, we're all good. Keep believing.